Yo, yo. It is with great pleasure that we welcome you to another episode of Daptime. I am AJ, also known as B-Dub, Bobby Westbrook. And I'm here alongside my baby brother, Big Dame. And we hope that you will join us in this conversation that is intended to make you laugh, maybe learn a little something, but ultimately live your life a little bit better. So with that, we'll have no more hesitation. It's time for you to unwind your spine, activate your mind. Let's get it. What up, Big Dame?
What's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm living corona free.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
That's always good to hear.
What's good with you?
Oh, man, taking it day by day, brother. Taking it day by day, man. Feeling good, looking better. Just, you know, just like I said, living life, man, and appreciating it. Yeah.
I feel you. This time of year is always interesting because it's late in the school year typically. You've got post spring break or around spring break, and everybody's getting ready for the last stretch before the summer. I know, you've got a beautiful baby girl at home, son off at college. Mm-hmm. So but they're feeling the effects of this climate too. How is it different?
Well, I mean, for one, he's home. He's home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they shut down the, he's of course he's in his sophomore year at Virginia State. So they shut down. Mm-hmm. So he's home and they're doing remote learning. So they're accessing everything online through the remainder of the semester. So that's a difference because I'm not used to seeing him until like May, but he's been back for probably 3 or 4 weeks now. But, and then, with baby girl, it's like schools are just closed. So now I'm all of a sudden I have no certification, no education degree, but I am a homeschool instructor now by default. So I got to figure out, and it's interesting. It's twofold. It's kind of interesting because I'm finding out that I don't know how it is in California, but I know in Virginia we have something called the SOL, which is standard of learning. So, it's a test, and public schools are pretty much their success is gauged upon the percentage of those that pass this test, this standard test. And to be honest with you, they teach to the test instead of teaching to educate, in my opinion. So it's kind of cool to get to have, be hands-on with what she's learning. I mean, I'm able to set her up with, she's taking sign language classes. She's just taking classes that she's interested, just stuff she's interested in. So as opposed to just, we have to get this many hours of math in, because when the test comes around, they're going to ask you these questions and we need you to pass. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, it's definitely an interesting process, and it's definitely different, but we adjust and we move,
I think if there's any one thing that I would say has to feel good for parents, I would speculate that for many of them, you're getting a chance to see your child learn and get a sense of their learning style. In some cases, particularly the early stage, and there's, I would hope for most parents, a sense of reward when you see that your child is capable of grasping new concepts, adding new information to their own repository of knowledge, and get an idea about who they are and see how that helps contribute to who they want to be in the world or who they're growing into being. Because you don't get that, right? I mean, you typically you drop them off at school and you see the results. But to see that on a day-to-day basis, is there some measure of reward or how? Maybe the better question is, how is that rewarding to you?
Yeah. I think I think the cool thing about it is you get to see what ignites them. You know what I mean? So you can
Mm-hmm.
peek in and you see, we're trying a bunch of different stuff. She took a declutter class the other day. Just how she can organize her room better. Just something to keep her busy. So, because, when they closed the schools, they didn't close the schools and say, okay, here's the curriculum for the rest of the year. Um, they can work on this and work towards finishing out the year. They just closed schools and they kind of gave you some resources that you could go to get work, but there really was no handbook given with it. You're just kind of on your own. Um, so we're just like letting her take whatever classes she wants to take, whatever, we're doing some math and some reading. We're doing some Spanish. We're doing, just kind of breaking it up. But the cool thing is, you kind of peeking in the room, and she does a lot of online virtual classes. And so peeking in and just seeing her kind of perk up a little bit at certain things. One thing that really tripped me out is sign language. She is really, really interested in, and she just kind of perks up. She's really engaged with the class. I think she likes the teacher, for one. And two, I think it's just, for whatever reason, she's just interested in it, So, so you definitely kind of I think a lot of times we focus on what we want for our child when really a lot of times we have to listen and we have to pay attention so we know what they want for themselves, so we can kind of guide them down the best path for them. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely it's an opportunity to kind of get a better understanding of who they are, for me.
I saw years ago, and I've told several people about this. This program was dedicated to learning disabilities, but it's entitled "I Can't Do This, but I Can Do That," and I believe HBO produced it. What was fascinating to me about it is that most of the students that they featured had what was framed as severe learning disabilities, right? So ADHD, dysgraphia, dyslexia, the litany. And you're seeing their challenges at their worst in the form, right? So whatever it would be. But then they put them in this, right? If they were students at a particular school that is geared to deal with those kinds of challenges. And you could see how these children soared in other areas, right? So like they're really growing, they're really capable of excelling. And so I learned from that, part of learning is style. The way the information is delivered. Part of it is, a child's natural abilities, intellectual abilities, the way they process. But too often, children are painted with a broad brushstroke. And so you just, here's the material, you're going to get it in this format, and you either come away with the right scores or not. And I just think there's a lot of value in knowing things like what you mentioned. You think part of what she gravitates towards is an instructor and the way the instructor delivers the information, right? She likes a particular teacher, so maybe that might be part of it, but it also could be the material and maybe what is involved in learning sign language. It's an active thing. So I think that's exciting. And that's a neat thing to come away with out of this whole shelter in place experience. I know we jumped in last week or not last week, but last episode, we started our series, which we've both been very excited about, Health 360. Hope that you, our listeners, stay with us through this, because this is going to be fun, and there'll be something fun and exciting that we'll share with you guys at the end of it to join us in this movement towards making health a priority. But just by way of recap, I know at the end of the last episode, we talked about 3 things we wanted people to take away. We really kind of just cracked the groundwork of of health. And we said it's really important, one, to get a sense of who you are, be honest with yourself, assess who are going to be the key benefactors for you being healthy and living a healthier life. And third, defining from that information what's going to be the best how, for you to go and start your journey. But I think you made a great suggestion that we come into this episode and focus on what can people do now? What can they wake up tomorrow morning and say, this is going to be step one to doing that? And so we really wanted to focus this episode on things that are doable to get you jump started in whatever your endeavors are with regard to improving your health. So with that, I want to throw it at you. How important, first of all, is really having something simple and practical to getting things started?
Well, I think, a lot of times when somebody is first starting out and they want to make a change, we've talked about you need to figure out who you're affecting, why you want to do it. But ultimately, there needs to be some doing. An old saying that I love that I used to get a lot from some people I used to work with, but was, how do you eat an elephant? And it's one bite at a time.
Right.
It's too big. You have to take one bite and then another and then another. And that's kind of how health and wellness is. There's no magic pill. There's no quick fix. There's no 3-day detox and you're good. It just doesn't happen like that. So I think one of the things that everybody has to keep in mind is that this is a marathon, not a sprint. So we have to figure out, if you've never exercised a day in your life, your diet is trash upon trash, and that's fine. But if that's where you are and you say, you know what, I've got to start doing something. Normally we say, I'll start on Monday, right? First day of the week, a good start to things. That's fine. But if you're going to start, what are you going to start with? Okay, I'm going to start going to the gym 3 days a week, and then I'm going to cut out all carbs. I'm only going to eat vegetables. I'm only going to eat meat twice a week. Don't do that, because you're setting an unrealistic expectation for yourself. There are some people who can do that right off the bat. But if you, like I said, if you've never exercised a day in your life and your diet is not conducive to losing any weight at all, you need to start with a reasonable goal. Tomorrow, what can you do to change how you live your life? You can exchange one meal, eat how you normally eat, but you can say, for this one meal, be it breakfast, lunch, dinner, or whatever, I'm going to put together a healthy option. If you usually eat a stack of pancakes, bacon, and eggs for breakfast, doused in syrup, maybe for breakfast, you have oatmeal and a piece of fruit and a glass of water. Just breakfast. And then the rest of your day, do what you do. But at least if you implement one change at a time, that's something that you can achieve. If I've never dieted and I've never had to exert that kind of discipline, that's something I can do. I can, it might be tough, but I can change one meal and I can achieve that goal. And then with that comes confidence, and with that comes momentum. And then eventually you'll add another thing, hey, I'm going to walk twice a week. I'm just going to walk for 30 minutes twice a week. Just walk. Take a stroll in your own neighborhood twice a week. That's 2 things you've implemented. And the list goes on and on and on. So I think the big thing as far as how to implement change is to implement it, for one. But don't jump out the window and do what you saw somebody on TV do, or do what you saw somebody on the internet. You know what I mean? Well, I was looking online and, this plan says you have to do in this program. Those programs are great, but at the end of the day, the common sense the good Lord gave you is given to you for a reason, and just use it, and just implement one small change at a time. And then you're on your way. And then as you grow, it's just like with anything. Babies crawl and then they walk and then they run. You know what I mean? They don't just jump out the womb running. So, I mean, you have to just take that humble approach at it, and you have a much better chance at not only achieving your goal, but establishing a consistent way of life. And that's what you're trying to do. You're not just trying to lose 20 pounds right now to gain 40 pounds back in 6 months. You're trying to establish a consistent way of life that's conducive to your own, your personal health.
So to me, it sounds like you're saying the importance is rooted in perspective, right? Your end goal can't be, for some, not all, but for some, the end goal can't be, I want to get back in those jeans, or I want to get in that bathing suit, because that's not, that may be a look or a feel, but that might not necessarily be health, right?
Right.
But you're saying to have health, you really have to have a lifestyle that sustains and supports the things you do to get to whatever allows you to, whatever size it allows you to wear those jeans or be in that swimsuit, or, have the look and feel that you want, because health is so much more important. So if you're talking about tomorrow, I'm going to exchange a meal, for some people, they may find, okay, I'm motivated to do that, but the next day they're not as motivated to do it, right? So I think in part, if you're looking at, I think you said this is a marathon. That is true. It is a marathon, but marathons are grueling. Right? People have to train for marathons. And I think for some people that may be part of where the discouragement comes in. How do I combat that if I'm also facing health issues that are motivating my internal desire to want to be healthy, right? Like if I'm starting to feel pre-diabetic symptoms coming on, I'm faint when my blood sugar's low, or I'm getting tingling in my hands, or whatever else is going on, right? I know I'm motivated to change, but I built these bad habits.
Right.
How do I take that one bite of an elephant and be satisfied?
Well, I think, kind of to what you were saying, I think the goal can be, I want to get into this bathing suit, or I want to get into those jeans. That can be one of your goals. The point I was making was, for the person who's never exercised, you need to set realistic goals. So, my thing is, if you take it goes back to who's affected by your change, who will be affected by your change. We talked about that on the last show, and it goes back to that same thing. And to me, that can stand to be your motivation on the grueling days. So if you have children that you want to be around for, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whomever, a spouse, significant other, what have you, that could be your motivation. You talked about pre-diabetic symptoms. If you're having chest pain, anything that's going on, or you're not moving, you go up a flight of stairs and you're out of breath. You might be like, man, that kind of sucks. I used to be able to run up the stairs. Now I walk up the stairs and I'm out of breath. So, those things can be your motivation, because that's the other thing. If you're just starting out, you're going to have bad days and good days. You're going to have days where I missed my workout altogether. I just wasn't feeling it. But you have to be able to let that go. And the next day, not that you're going to make it up. I'm going to go 5 miles today, not just 2, because I'm going to make up for yesterday. Yesterday's gone. Make the best of today. You know what I mean? And so let that be your motivation, that, this is going to get me. Yeah, it's going to get me in those pants. It's going to get me in that bathing suit, whatever the case may be. But it's going to keep me around for my kids longer. It's going to keep me around for, so I can see my grandkids, so I can see my kids graduate college, whatever the case may be. So I think that, those are some of the things that we need to look at as pertaining to, kind of getting through those tough times. Because now I've run, we talk about a marathon. I've run the longest race I've ever run. I'm not a runner. I'm not one of these runners, but I try to get out there. I do a 5K here and there. I do have a goal to do a 10. I want to try to do a 10 miler in September if they still have it, but we'll see with COVID-19. I don't know. But I know one thing about running that's interesting to me is that when you get to certain times in the race where you're like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? It hurts. You have to for me, I have to put my mind somewhere else. So I put my mind on something to motivate me, whatever it may be, whether it's my daughter waiting at the finish line, whether it's me just picturing myself being victorious, achieving this goal, or whatever the case may be. And so when you're talking about fitness as a lifestyle, that's what it is. It's a marathon, and there's going to be days where they're bad, and you have to figure a way to see yourself victorious. You know what I mean? And I think that's, not beating yourself up is the best thing you can do in that situation.
I agree with you. I think it's one of the things you said earlier, you treat it like an elephant. And I really do think physical health, which is what we're talking about, with this first couple of episodes, it's really about physical health. That elephant is a beast, right? Mm-hmm. Weight loss is one part of it. Conditioning, another part. Toning, just being active, energy, and having better energy. Those are just even within themselves headers. And I think there are a number of issues within each one of those categories. It's an issue. When you look at weight loss or weight management, you have a whole slew of people who on the surface look like they fit in the right category. Like if they were to get on a scale or go shopping, most people would say, even physicians, that they are within the proper range for their height and their age. And you say, oh man, that person's probably healthy. But I know people who, for all intents and purposes on the surface, look healthy, but are extraordinarily unhealthy. I used to work with a woman who would drink probably upwards of between 8 and 12 Diet Cokes a day.
Wow.
Eat McDonald's 4 to 5 times a week. Wow. I mean, just a junk food bandit. But, I mean, on the surface, look fit. Mm-hmm. But you had to know, I mean, her body was not inside very happy. Right. So I think when you look at weight loss and weight management and you say, okay, well, where's the health and wellness for someone like that? And there are people like that who know I got bad eating habits. I got, I need to deal with this. How do I get there? Right. I think your message about taking that practical step is also rooted in addressing that first category we talked about last week. You got to become self-aware, and some of the honesty is in saying, when I'm craving a stack of pancakes, some bacon, some sausage, the syrup all over everything, a side of eggs, cup of coffee, whatever, with all of that, that's insanity. You know what I mean? Like at a certain stage in life, that is not the move for you, right, or for me, right? Like there's a point at which it's like, hey, is that a treat or is that what you're doing for yourself 2 or 3 times a week? You know what I'm saying? Like that's, so I think the practical thing to say, maybe you replace a meal, is a good place to start, because that's something that helps someone look at it and get a sense of self-awareness. But I think it's actually being honest out loud about that one thing you might want to change or implement and your struggle with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You said get up. If I need to get more active, And the one thing I'm gonna do is, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna walk to the end of my street and back once a day, or just once between now and this time next week, right? Wherever I'm at on the spectrum, that's the one thing I'm gonna do. But when it comes time to do that, if you have a challenge, it's being honest and saying, man, maybe my struggle is that I've always been lazy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the honest view is what we've been running from.
Well, and I think, I agree wholeheartedly. I think part of it is you have to look at it from a realistic standpoint as well. And I think for somebody who, and again, right now I'm talking to people who don't exercise. That's just never been a part of it. Maybe they weren't really athletes in high school. They just weren't. That's just not something that's really in their repertoire. Nothing they really ever got into was exercising and fitness and that type of thing. And there's a lot of people like that, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But as we get older, there's certain things we need to do, just for overall maintenance of our bodies. And so for those people, I think you have to be realistic. You have to understand if you're overweight, it is extreme. It's the people that you see on TV doing the push-ups and the sit-ups and all these great workouts, and they look great and they look good doing it. That's almost difficult for somebody who's 50 pounds overweight or 75 pounds overweight. So that's why I say, don't beat yourself up. If you're overweight, you're overweight. A vast majority of the population is overweight. You know what I mean? And
so you deserve love too.
You deserve love too. But
okay, I like that.
Take your one bite though. But take your bite of the elephant.
Right.
And then if you miss a bite, don't shoot yourself. Okay. All right. But understand that what you see on TV and what you see on the internet, that's being done by professionals. You remember the old Soloflex commercials and all those different home gym type of things. And it's like all you needed.
The Bowflex and
all of them. 20 minutes.
What was your boy's name? What was the hip hop dancer turned fitness guru?
Billy Blanks?
Sean T.
Oh, Sean T. Okay. I thought you was talking about Bobby. Was it Bobby Blanks? Or Billy Blanks?
Yeah, Billy Blanks.
Yeah. So Sean T, the other guy. Yeah. But you look at a lot of these things, these machines, and they tell you, only 3 days a week, 20 minutes a day. That's all you need. Everybody in the commercial got a 12-pack, not a 6-pack, a 12-pack. All of them. There is no way. They're probably sitting at 1.5% body fat, maybe 2. There is no way that these people achieve those goals working out 3 days a week for 20 minutes a day on a Bowflex. It's no way. It's impossible. Now, they're not telling you, they're not saying you're going to look like me, but they're saying this is all you need to get a good workout. So what they did was they probably did 2-a-days for 6 weeks, working out about 4 hours a day, eating a very strict diet, drinking nothing but water. That's probably what they did to look like they're looking, but they're not telling you that. So that's why I'm saying to the people who, working out and fitness is not really in there. That's not nothing they really have experience with. That's why I say, don't beat yourself up, because the perception becomes reality, but in reality, the perception is not real. You know what I mean?
Man, you are 100% right. And that's a good point. I remember my man, we'll change the name to protect the innocent in this one, but my man, Danny Disco, that you met when you came out.
Okay.
He actually at one point, now he was eating a very strict diet, super lean diet. He was working out 4 to 5 days a week and putting in good work, but he still couldn't get the 6-pack he wanted. So this cat started taking insulin shots.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this is my man.
I think,
my man out, San Jose. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Danny Disco.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, my thing with that is, to your point, people are buying the image, right? And in a way, it's the big con, right? I'm going to come in and I'm going to show what I know you really want to believe.
Yeah.
You want to believe that it's not going to take a lot of work for you to go from Sherman Clump late night on the sofa with ice cream and M&Ms to, Billy Blank shredded or Sean T shredded,
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, no, that's going to be work. That's going to be sacrifice.
Yep.
That's going to hurt. And if we're really honest, right, and this is part of the becoming self-aware, for some, certainly there are those who have health issues, who, for various reasons didn't have a chance to get fit earlier. But a lot of people, you just got lazy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that pain. You don't want that sacrifice. I'd rather go meet the fellas, after work and kick it than hit the gym. And I heard a man say years ago, you're either going to get the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment, but you're going to get pain.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I agree wholeheartedly. I think, and I think when it comes to the discipline, that's why I say, depending at what level you're at, there's small there's small things that you can do to just get started. And
can I feel good about that though?
You can.
And I'm not asking because I don't believe it.
Right.
I'm just saying, I need to know that.
But and here's the thing though, and that's why I say you have to be your own cheerleader. Sometimes, you know what I mean. You have to be your own best friend. You know what I mean. A lot of times, and that goes back to the self-worth element of what we talked about in the last show. You have to value yourself enough to where you look back and say, you know what, I've never walked 2 miles in my life. You know what I mean? I've never walked a mile in my life. If that's where you are, I got up today and I walked a mile. And if I feel pretty good about it, pat yourself on the back. That's great because prior to the last 5 years, you haven't walked anywhere but to the refrigerator. You know what I mean? So, okay, you're doing something and you need to realize that counts for something. That really does. It really does count for something because, and now the commercials aren't going to tell you that because it's not financially beneficial for them to tell you that. But a simple 1 mile walk or whatever it is, that counts for something if you have never been doing it before. Right. So, if your goal is to do 100 push-ups, you have to do one first, right? So,
right.
At what point do you going to give yourself some credit for doing something different? You know what I mean? And so from there, again, the momentum picks up itself. The momentum will pick up. You'll have the good days and you'll have the bad days. But if you can endure the bad day, not kick yourself and not say, man, I messed up. Because here's the thing. Oh, man, I got through the first 2 workouts. I didn't miss this workout. Man, I'm just going to start over again next month. And then it's
next
over.
Month.
Right. Or next week, whatever.
I'm going to spend the next 28 days going to work.
Right. You know what I mean? So that's all the excuse because you really didn't want to do it anyway. And that's all the excuse you needed to stop. So what we have to do is change the thinking. The thinking initially, it's not going to feel good to your body. So the initial thinking is you're subliminally looking for any way to stop this. I don't want to do it. Right. You know what I mean? I want to eat what I want. I want to do what I want. So what you have to do is reward yourself in whatever fashion you can. I don't care what it is. If you do 1 push-up, 1 sit-up, you jump rope 1 time. If you weren't doing anything before, that's an upgrade.
That's a win, Dame.
Yep.
That's a good Dame. That's a good one, bro, because I think that is the barrier, right? I think sometimes we think the barrier has to be this big old giant mountain that I moved, and I don't get to love on myself or feel good about my effort until that mountain has been moved, right? It's not enough that, well, instead of me just laying down here at the base of the mountain, I'm gonna take 5 steps or I'm gonna take 2 steps and I'm gonna lay down and camp there.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I think to your point, if it's like, hey, I can't do the 10 push-ups that I plan to do, but I'm gonna do 1. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm gonna go even further. I would say even sometimes the fact that you stopped and acknowledged where you are in taking the L, right? You come home, you say, man, you know, I really set out when I got home, I was gonna go do my walk up the block and back, but instead I sat down, I ate dinner, I feel bad, but you process those thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because for some people, just the awareness alone is the beginning of their journey.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I think sometimes we live in spaces where the loss is an eternal loss, when in reality, that's just that loss.
It's a day.
Season's not over. It's a marathon.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, you know, that's one of the things I just want to, if we don't leave anything else with the people today, you know, we talk a lot about the problems and what can happen and what does happen and this, that, and the other. But if we don't do anything else, I want to leave them with something that they can do. And what you can do is change. You know, what you can do is we got to leave them some actionable items. So if you're not doing anything at all, walk up the block. That's a win. You know, like we talked about.
That's a win.
If you're not doing anything at all, do 5 push-ups. You know, depending on your level, your experience level. If you can do 10, fine. 20, fine. But whatever you can do push-ups until you can't do push-ups anymore. If you can only do 3 and you can't do another push-up, you won. You won the day. And that needs to be your mindset. Just win the day. You know what I mean? Because the next day is going to bring its own problems. And when it comes, you're going to win that day too, as long as you fight. But it's about being in the fight. So as long as we're sitting back and we're not doing anything about it, we're not attacking this issue, we can't win because we're not even in the fight. So I encourage everybody to just get into the fight. You know, do one thing a day. Move. You know, just get some movement. You know what I mean? You know, as far as we talk a lot about push-ups, walking, things of that nature, even just, you know, if you take the time, drink water. That's another thing. Get some good water intake. A lot of people don't like drinking a lot of water. Try to get 5-6 glasses of water a day. You know, that's something that flushes your body. You know, if you're eating a lot of stuff that might not be the best for you, at least you can kind of help flush some of it out with the water. You know what I mean? So just pick one thing. You don't have to have it all together. Oh, I ate perfect. I drank a gallon of water. I got my workout in. You know, you'll get there, but you can't go into it on day one thinking that you're just going to have it all together. It's not going to happen. So I encourage you to just get into the fight.
Can't.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that suggestion. I would add to that, for some, you're not sure where you want to go yet. You're not sure where you are in your journey. You may be battling other issues that we want to get into when we talk about in next week's episodes, mental health and wellness. So you may be having different challenges. So I would say if you can't do any of the physical things, you're not ready for that, you can't identify those, I would say take 5 minutes a day and just search for articles that will help you jumpstart your thinking. Up on our website will be some resources that we've used, and you can look at those if you don't know where to start for yourself. That's at www.itsdaptime.com. And we'll share those with you. We want to encourage you doing whatever is important for your journey. And I think this is taking shape that we're really appealing to people for whom this issue has been part of the gorilla on their back and maybe been that thing holding you back from discovering new opportunities or seeing yourself live your best life. We don't want to be a part of not supporting you. We want to be cheerleaders and supporters and encouragers for your best health. So, reading something every day, believe it or not, is good for your body physically. So, if you can't get out and do the physical activity externally yet, take time to read something, and we'll provide some resources for you to help you get there.
Yes, sir.
I think with that, we are about ready for the next installment of what is becoming one of my favorites, Mama Says. And Big Dave?
Yes, sir.
What does Mama say this beautiful evening?
Oh, man. You know, Mama has so many sayings, man, when I recollect on my youth. But today, you know, is one that's kind of near and dear to my heart. You know, I got it a lot, turned around and used it a little bit as I got older.
Figures.
But Mama always used to say, a hard head makes for a soft behind.
Ooh.
Yeah. And she was right. She was right. So, you know, I think today, you know, usually with Mama Said, we'll give you a couple of instances of where someone heeded what Mama said and someone didn't heed what Mama said. But this one right here, there's so many instances on both sides. I think we're just going to go through. I think we should just go through a couple of different scenarios and just see, you know, just analyze a few people and see if they heeded what Mama said or not. What do you think?
I like that. I mean, jumping at me right away is someone like Josh Gordon from the NFL. Has, I think in 2012, 2013, 1,500, 1,600 plus yards as a wide receiver for Cleveland. He is, to the naked eye, about to be an icon. He has freakishly gifted as a wide receiver. But we on the national scene just started hearing about his struggles with substance abuse off the field. I think he gets suspended 2 or 3 times for part of a season before they take a whole year from him, and he's on an indefinite. And then somehow or another, after number 4, he gets reinstated, a second chance, a fifth chance, gets with New England. And before he can make good on that, he's out. He's on a 1-year deal in Seattle last year. And this guy goes from 1,600 plus yards to 7 catches for the season. And now he's a free agent who's been yet again suspended indefinitely for substance abuse. Evidence of a hard head. And I don't know if losing that many millions of dollars doesn't tenderize your backside. I'm not sure what will, but I'm guaranteeing something is going to.
Yeah, I have to agree, brother. I think, and you know, in his case, you have to wonder if there's something else going on there. You know what I mean? It's just, that's a lot to lose. That's a lot to lose. But, you know, I was thinking, you know, keeping it football, you know, I was thinking, and, you know, there's another guy who some would say was a little hard-headed at certain points in his career. Michael Vick. He, you know, for all intents and purposes in the public eye, was kind of the poster guy for the new model quarterback, the new model black quarterback. You know, he kind of ushered in, if you really think about it, he was right at that time where the black quarterback was still just a mobile, quote unquote, quarterback. And, you know, so he kind of ushered in to what we see now with Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson. You know, so many of these guys now are they're not only just pocket quarter, they're great NFL quarterbacks. And he started that. He, you know, he had the incident with he had a couple of incidences, but the big one was, of course, the dog fighting incident. And basically just came down to having too many people around, you know, too many people have access to you. You're trying to keep it real. You're trying to keep it 100 with everybody that you grew up with. And at some point in your life, you just can't do that anymore, you know? And he paid the price. He paid the price. He ended up, you know, he lost out on some contract. He had one of the biggest contracts at the time, which was a 10-year, $100 million deal, I believe, with Atlanta. At the time, that was huge. That was huge.
Yeah.
So I think he lost out on some of that. Ended up doing, I think, 18 months to 2 years in the feds behind the dogfighting case. But the beautiful thing about what Mama said is, if that hard head makes a soft behind, you can come back from it if you learn. And through that scenario, he did come back, came back with the Eagles, salvaged his NFL career, had one of the best years I think he's had as a passer in that year with the Eagles. He actually dethroned Donovan McNabb while he was there. And, you know, played with them and then went on to play a few more years before retiring. But does a lot of great work with the, you know, for animal rights and things of that nature. So, you know, big shout out to Michael Vick for turning it around and kind of learning the lesson from what Mama said and turning a negative into a positive.
You get the dap for getting the lesson. I think it's funny, man, because built into the saying is you are going to get the lesson. I mean, that's really how, you know, it's not like, you know, a hard head leads to death.
Right.
No, it makes it soft behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going to get the lesson because your head is soft enough that you can process it with your thinking.
Right. Right.
Or you're going to resign yourself to getting this through your backside, but you're going to get the lesson. And I think that there's some redemption in that, right? Like that the lesson is there to be learned. You choose how you want to get it. You know, I think there's it's great the way you said it with Josh Gordon. Like there's something else at play with him. I like Josh Gordon, right? I mean, I like all these guys. Most of them. I don't think there probably are some, if I thought about it, I'd care less for. But Josh is not one of them. I love the way he carries himself on the field, how he competes. He's kind of a throwback in that way. He just comes out, laces him up, and he gives you the business.
Yeah.
But so I want to see him win. But there's some lesson he's got to get. Right. And it's more than just, hey, the league's policies aren't going to support you smoking weed or whatever his vice is off the field. There's some life lesson he's got to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and he's going to get that lesson one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. He's going to have to. He's going to have to. But, you know, hopefully, man, I'm with you, man. I want to see the brother win, and I hope he, you know, gets what he needs to get out of it and is able to. And I hope it happens before it's you know, before his career is past him. I hope he's able to get back out there, and because he's a great talent, man. He's a great talent. I love watching him play. So, you know, yeah, really hope. I
love that you chose that Mama Says for this episode, because I think when it comes to some of the decisions that people have to make around their health and wellness, I mean, some of it is, people are making it. I'll give you an example. I went to a get together years ago, saw a friend of mine who had lost, he might have lost 70, 80 pounds between the times that I saw him. So I said, oh man, you look great, man. What are you doing? And so he was like, I had to change my whole eating program up, whatever. And then went on to say, he had been diagnosed with diabetes. And man, just as he started telling me about that, you could see him reliving kind of what he had gone through to get to that discovery. And one of the things he said is, I knew for years leading up to it that I needed to do something. It took this series of events to trigger, me making the changes that ultimately led to him losing weight. And he's certainly living a lot healthier today. But I think, in line with that, I would say Big Dap goes to every one of our listeners and to anyone out there who recognizes that the fact that we're even bringing this topic to light is one of those moments where mama says, hey, you can either take the information and start being proactive to reclaiming your health, or life and the lessons it will teach you will bring the opportunity for you to learn, but it will be a lot less comfortable. So before there's a medical crisis that causes it to happen, or other circumstances that drive it, let's all take a page from Mike Vick now and everybody else who took mama's warning, heeded it, and avoided having a soft behind. And let's get healthy in 2020.
Yay.
All right.
I like that.
Well, with that, Big Dame, I think we've gotten to the end of the first two of installments of Health 360. It's been another fantastic episode. I always enjoy talking to you and always enjoy sharing that time with our audience. Listen, if you haven't done so, visit us at our website, subscribe, become a follower. I guarantee you we are going to be doing a lot of things like this that you will enjoy. You can find us at www.itsdaptime.com. That is itsdaptime.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at @dap_time. You can definitely like and subscribe us there. Sign up for notifications so you can get anything that we tweet out, as well as our episodes. Share them with your friends. Invite them to join you in this journey as we hope to make a difference in the world. Just two brothers, one vision. And so we'll leave you with what we always do. Look in the mirror. There is your competition. We out.
Peace.